today's video I'll be sharing with you how I process my own birds manually without the use of any equipment. So the first thing I'll be doing before I process those birds is I'm going to weigh out the birds that we want to process. So currently I have 25 pieces of these birds left out, and I'll be taking out 10 of it because I have a customer that wants to buy 10 processed chicken. So I'll be left with 15 pieces right here. So what I'll be doing right now is I'm going to weigh these birds first so that I can know their initial live weight, so that after processing I'm going to weigh the processed birds as well, so that I'm going to know what my dressed weight will be like. First thing first, you want to ensure that you are not feeding your birds before you start processing them. So the last time they ate was yesterday, and right now I will have to take out the 10 I want to process first, and before feeding the remaining 15 pieces that will be left. Let's get started. So that being said, one of the first thing we have to do now is to weigh those birds, and the reason we are weighing the birds is to know their initial live weight. And one of the advantages of weighing these birds before we process them is to be very sure of their weight. That's the first thing, in relation with the amount of feed that they consume. Like, how well does this bird convert the feed that they consume? Did they did excellently well, or they don't do well? So that's the first reason. And another reason is that after dressing those birds, that is after we have processed them and we are weighing the dressed weight, so there is a way we calculate the percentage dressed weight from the live weight. So let's take for example, now your live weight is 2.5 kg for instance, and then after processing you have a dressed weight of 1.8 kg. So that percentage dressed weight is 72%. So your percentage dressed weight could be between 70 to 75%. So if you are within that range, that means your production is actually good. And if you have anything below that, you might want to check into something else. So that is why we are weighing these birds. And before we weigh them, you have to ensure that you withdraw their feed at least 8 hours before weighing them. So the last time we fed these birds now was yesterday. The only thing we gave them was water, so they have to take water only, and then we are not going to feed them. So that's that about feeding. And after feeding, after weighing the ones that we want to like process, the next thing is we have to give the rest of them feed. Yes, so that is, we have to feed the rest of them before we now proceed to start processing the ones that we have weighed out. And right here, as you can see, I'm feeding the birds, and that is exactly what I'm doing. So after feeding them, the next thing I have to do is I have to give them drinking water, a very plain drinking water, and before we now proceed into processing those birds. So right now, the next thing we want to do now is to like slaughter the birds. And as you can see, this is what we do. We hang those birds, yeah, because we do not have a killing cone. So what we do is we hang them and then we slaughter them through the jugular vein. So slaughter them through the jugular vein. I have to blur this now because of, and that's all. Then the next thing we do is after slaughtering those birds, we have to like immerse them into hot water. We dip them into hot water to go through a process that we call defeathering. So defeathering simply means that we are trying to like remove all the feathers that is surrounded around the body of the bird. So this is exactly what we are doing right now. Is dipping it into hot water just to remove all of the feathers. So we have to dip it into hot water and leave it for about 60 seconds or 1 minute thereabout, and after that we proceed into removing the feathers from the birds. When we are done defeathering the birds, that is, we are done removing the feathers from the birds, the next thing we will be doing right now is we have to cut the birds. That is, we have to cut out all of the chicken parts, which includes the leg, the head, and the neck. Then we cut open to remove the intestines, that is the viscera. This is a process we known as that is known as evisceration, that is complete removal of the viscera, all of the intestines, and every other organs found inside that particular bird. And after which we will be cutting a whole bird into 4 pieces. That is what we call cut 4. So this is what they buy here in my location. What we deliver to our customers is cut 4 chicken. So what we do is we divide one whole chicken into 4 pieces. As you can see from this video, that you have to slit through that pointed space of the chicken just to remove the viscera. So as you can see, I'm showing you exactly how we remove all of the intestines, at the same time cut a whole chicken into 4 pieces. After removing the head and the leg, the next thing is we try and remove the viscera, that is all the intestines and all the organs, including the heart, the gizzard, the liver, and every other things found inside the chicken. As you can see, so the next thing I'm doing right now is that I'm trying to remove the fat from the gizzard, because we have to remove that fat from the gizzard before we deliver it to our customers. So after removing the fat, the next thing I'm trying to do right now is just to separate the heart from the chicken as well. So what and the rest of it will be discarded. So we don't discard them completely. What we do is that we have fish farmers that used to come around to get those intestines at the rate of 450 naira per kg. So that is that on that. And then after doing this, after separating removing that from the gizzard, the next thing I will be doing right now is that I'm going to cut one whole chicken into 4 pieces. So one thing is you have to cut through, that is the laps. You have to cut through the laps and try and cut through the meat space. So I'm not placing the knife on the bone. I'm actually placing it on the meat aspect for easy cutting, so that when you are trying to cut your own, you don't stress yourself cutting through the bone parts. So what you just have to do is ensure that you cut through the meat. As you can see this one right now, that I cut through the meat, and that made it very easy for me to be able to cut through using the knife. So if you have a cutter, it is more easier, but for this video, as you can see, I'm making use of a knife, and the knife is not even that sharp. So I'll be making another video of this. So you cut the leg as well, you cut through the joints, you are not cutting through the bone. you cut through the joints and not the bone. Same thing with the neck, you try and remove the neck. So in this here now, I have to like change the knife because the knife I was using is not too sharp. And yeah, you cut through the neck, then try and remove it, then separating the neck from the crop. So that thing that I'm holding is the crop as well as the trachea. So that's the crop as well as the trachea. So I'm disposing that, as you can see. So you cut through that pointed space, you cut through that. After cutting through, you like open it widely so that it will be easier for you to take out all of the viscera, that is the intestines, the organs, including the heart, liver, gizzard, and every other thing found inside the chicken. And when you are done with that, the next thing is you cut through one chicken into 4 pieces. So in this video right now, it is because I'm cutting it into 4 pieces that is in cut 4. That is why I completely opened the chicken. So if you are trying to like sell one whole chicken, you would ensure that you do not cut it this way. After splitting, all you just have to do is from that pointed part that you are cutting through, you ensure that you only give it a small cut and dip your hand inside the whole chicken to take out all of the viscera, the intestines, and what have you, so that when you do that, you will have one whole chicken. I had to like completely open mine up because I am cutting it into cut 4. So if you are trying to sell one whole chicken, full chicken, you ensure that your cutting through that pointed area is not wide, that it is very small, it's not wide, so that you can have a complete whole chicken, or full chicken as some people used to call it. And that's that on how to manually process your broiler chickens without the use of any equipment. And that's that on how to do it manually. I will see you guys in the next video. See ya, bye.